Calvin Kattar absolutely demolished Giga Chikadze, excuse me. However, it was closer than one may have imagined because I had to watch these fight backs. I didn't watch them in real time. So when I saw 50-45 Calvin Kattar, I was like, what happened? You know what I mean? But when you watch the fight back, this was very reminiscent to Calvin Kattar, Max Holloway, to where it was close, but Kattar was winning all the rounds. But it was close, you know what I mean? It's not like Chikadze did nothing, you know what I mean? But I got a couple pictures that I need to put up. And the first one is this one, man. This is just something that you don't really expect to see. However, it is interesting because I think this was towards the end of the fight. This was like, you know what I mean, last 10, 15 seconds or something like that. And you see a bloodied up Giga Chikadze for those who are listening. Calvin Kattar standing over him, getting ready to drop some bombs. But this is actually something that I wanted to talk about, AJ. Calvin Kattar did something that Edson Barbosa didn't do in his fight with Giga Chikadze, which was in that first round. He says, I'm not only going to push the pressure on the feet, I'm going to grapple with you a little bit. I'm going to wrestle with you. I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to get some blood flowing through those arms, you know what I mean? Get that lactic acid built up. Get you a little tired, you know? And I'm going to have you on the back foot the entire fight. I think that definitely played a role when it comes to zapping out that gas tank, because when it came to round 2, round 3, Giga was looking a little gassed. But my question off the bat to you, AJ, is did you notice in the first round, Giga Chikadze came out and he looked stiff to me? He was really quick. Everything was bah, 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 like he was landing a body shot, 1-2. But everything felt so tight and stiff. And I was like, bro, you feel like you're, like, to me, I was like, it felt like you're exerting a lot of energy right now and you're not flowing. You're just you're forcing it. You're landing, but you're forcing it. And against Kattar, it's a tough man to do that against. So what do you think? Do you agree? What's your take on that?
Oh, 100%, Derek. He looked stiff. That was a good way to phrase it because he really. I was looking back at this fight and I was comparing it to that Jamae Simmons KO that he has, where he was in his flow state. You know, Giga was in a flow state. He can see the strikes coming. The kicks are snappy. He's able to maintain that range. Here, everything looked forced, man. Everything was stiff. Everything they were landing, sure, but they weren't landing with that same kind of fluidity and that snap that really hurts at the end of the punches. It was interesting to see because it was definitely felt like Cater's night. You know, if you've ever been in there, or you're ever like kind of feeling the one where it's just not your night, things aren't going exactly like it is. That's kind of how it felt with Giga, man. It felt like just it wasn't flowing correctly. The stars weren't aligned for him to be at his top performance. He didn't peak that night. Might have peaked, today, tomorrow, whenever it was. But it definitely felt strained. It didn't feel like his kind of his night, exactly his style of fight. But he was still landing. He was still doing good. But once that second round came around and Calvin Kattar was able to hold him down the entire time, that's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is going to be a real rough fight for Giga. Hands started getting low. Body posture started getting low. He was eating more elbows right up the middle. And you could tell it always hurts you, or you could tell the ones that always hurt the fighter when he starts trying to throw that back. Calvin Kattar hit him with a couple elbows, and he's like, oh, elbow, okay. Like, I'm getting you one of these. But that's like, oh, that's because that one hurt.
Yeah, and it goes to show that's when you start not fighting the way you're supposed to fight, but fighting emotionally, because you never try to get one back. You know what I mean? You go and you reset, and your moment will come. But this was just a showcase win for Calvin Kattar, man. This was and I said I got to eat some crow, so this is the time to eat some crow, man. For Calvin Kattar, brother, it just goes to show like he is on another echelon. He is on another rank, another level in this featherweight division when it comes down to pure striking and mixing in that MMA. Now, was it a little bit of the perfect opponent with Giga Chikadze in hindsight now? Yes, because Giga doesn't shoot on you. You know what I mean? There's no grappling coming from Giga unless it's like that rare opportunity. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to go for a submission. Other than that, it was him on the back foot using that karate style. And one thing that I noticed here is that Calvin Kattar's boxing efficiency and the way that he fights, I just think it was just a little more optimal in this matchup than Giga Chikadze's karate style, AJ. And do you feel what I'm saying? Because if you noticed, Kattar was able to walk forward, granted weaponize his cardio, but keep Giga on the back foot, and he was just popping out that jab, maybe a calf kick from time to time, shovel to the body, whatever. But Giga Chikadze, every time that he's throwing, he's doing the karate style striking, where it's that bah, bah, where your whole body is moving. You're throwing the 1-2s. It's not the fluid boxing, it's not that, but it's that kind of just like whole body into a karate style, throw the liver kick. Everything is going, your whole body is shifting with every movement, constantly orthodox, constantly southpaw. So did you notice like the level of efficiency between a Calvin Kattar and a Giga Chikadze, where it felt like give it another 5 rounds and Kattar could have been basically doing the same thing? You give it another 5 rounds for Giga and he might have been passed out on the floor, even though I do want to say we need a sponsorship for like Can't Hurt Me Fighter of the Night or whatever. If David Goggins didn't have that, I would love it because Kattar looked like a defeated man on the stool. And every time he rose to the occasion, dug deep, found those demons and said, fuck it, we're going, brother. So that was so impressive. Give me your take.
Yeah, I think so. Those long karate strikes, they look flashy and they hurt when you catch somebody on the end of the punches and the kicks. But as far as efficiency and as far as, dealing out that gas tank, definitely Cater's kind of style of fight, man. He real smooth, real going. And honestly, I was expecting a lot more calf kicks coming from Giga. Attack that front leg, attack, keep it going. But because we all knew Kattar was going to be on the front foot in that boxing range like he prefers, and Chikadze just wasn't able to have that fluidity or have that precise technique to be able to get it in there. Calvin was just way too close, right where he needed to be. And I agree with you, that long style of karate striking that Chikadze is so dangerous at, Calvin had the exact perfect game plan to be able to combat that going forward, not allowing that striking, that distance to be an issue, where he was able to weaponize his pace. And like you said, weaponize his chin, man. Nothing more demoralizing when you put all you have into a guy, you get him one solid on the chin, you think it's going to hurt him, and he's just staring right back at you laughing. That's a hell of an ego killer right there.
Absolutely, brother. So it was very impressive because it looked like nothing Giga gave to Kattar faced him whatsoever. But Kattar, those shots, it looked like they, Chikadze was wearing it after a while, man. But this was what was interesting to me is that the kick approach. I agree with you. I was like, why is Giga not kicking more? Where are the leg kicks? We've seen Kattar have issues with leg kicks in the past because he's so heavy on the front foot. But the reason is clear. It's because Kattar smothered Chikadze. He smothered the kicking range. He says, if you're going to do work, you're doing work with your hands. And I know that I'm a better boxer, so I'll take that fight all day. If I can eliminate the Giga kick, if I can eliminate all that, I'm basically in a comfortable spot. Now, what's interesting is that Kattar ate a bunch of body shots, man. His body was reddened up. You feel me? I mean, let's take a look at the numbers real fast, brother. Look at Kattar. Look at just like the figure. If you're watching, you can see the redness all over Kattar. The redness is basically body and head. The redness is for, basically the head on Giga. The body is a little bit light. And for those who are listening at home, that's just an indication of the amount of damage that was done. So when we look at body shots, 13 body shots for Kattar, which is a little surprising, 27 for Giga, 127 to the head for Kattar, 94 for Giga. When we're looking at significant strikes, 144 edge to 128 in favor of Calvin Kattar. Only one knockdown, 2 of 7 for his takedowns. So with all that being said, now that we've gone over those numbers, it was still a very close fight. But Kattar, man, that head hunting nature, man, I'm surprised he didn't dig to the body a little bit more, but that head hunting nature got the job done. For Giga, even though it was more balanced body and head, man, Kattar just walked through everything. So do you agree that when you're on the back foot, and this is something I know from experience, man, when you're sparring and someone just has you on the back foot the whole time, it's so tiring and you don't have the same pop on your shots. There's very few fighters who can work off the back foot and have massive power, but the power comes from precision and accuracy and timing, not from pure power. So like an Izzy Adesanya. He moved backwards, but he could tag you with that one shot, and that's it, right? Giga Chikadze generally can do that, but when Kattar is just constantly in your face, what's up, bro? Nose smashed in, just wiping off his nose, like, what's up? When you have that, it's a hard battle to overcome, and I think that my prediction for Bill Algeo for Joe Anderson Brito was more on point for this fight than it was for that one. Because I said if Brito can stop the flow of Algeo, man, it's going to be real tough for him to do anything. That's what Kattar did to Chikadze, in my opinion, man. So what's your rebuttal on that one, brother?
Yeah, no rebuttal, man. I agree with you. It's real hard to keep to your game plan, especially coming from a karate background like I do, man. If somebody is bull rushing you the entire time and you can't get off that center line and crack them one time to make them think about it again, yeah, it's hard, man. That timing is everything when you're trying to land the shots at the end of your, the pop at the end of your shots. Yeah, Calvin Kattar, man, very impressive win.
Absolutely. Excuse me. So what does this mean for Calvin Kattar at this point, man? It's something that I asked in the beginning. How good is Max Holloway? Like, how good is he?
Right? Yeah, man. No, this shows, not only does it show how good Max Holloway is, but it also to me shows how good Calvin Kattar saw Max Holloway was and says, I need to level up. I need to level up my game and fight my game. Very like, dude, I get like it's crazy to see how different the two fights were that Calvin Kattar just had. Going from getting bullied on, getting basically picked on and embarrassed in front of the whole school to now doing that to the next guy up and coming. very impressive, and showed that Calvin Kattar's smart, man. He knows how to take the game plan and actually grow as a fighter and
Yeah.
keep on rolling.
Do you agree, or not? Do you agree? Do you believe in the thing that is called the rub? Right. You know what I mean. Do you think that Max Holloway gave Calvin Kattar the rub the same way that Max Holloway gave Brian Ortega the rub, or was that the fight? Yeah, I think Max Holloway blessed both of them. You feel me? And it gave them that rub that they needed to move to that next step. Because that's what they were saying in the commentary. They're like, Chikadze, what's scary is that he's just gonna get better after this fight, and that's the same thing. I mean, Kattar was on that run, ran into Holloway, and then now look at what he did. It's just like, oh, you're a scary fighter, dude. Same thing for Brian Holloway. So, do you believe in the rub, and do you think Giga Chikadze is gonna come back stronger than ever after this?
Yeah, oh, 100%. I believe in the rub, man. You have to have those old dudes show you kind of what's up,
Yeah.
show you that little bit of game, that little bit of experience for you to be like, oh, okay, this is where, because they've all had that exact same thing in their own career. You know, Max Holloway had it done to him, and then he learns from it, keeps on going. Same thing, I think, man. Giga, especially from a fight like this where it's a real demoralizing kind of a long 5 rounds, you're getting beat up in your mind. You know, you're thinking that stuff the whole time too, man. You're in your mind while this dude's piecing you up in the face. So I think this is one of those wins that Giga, or one of those losses, excuse me, that Giga has that's going to make him learn from it. You know, not a loss, a lesson, but he's going to keep on growing. I definitely believe in the rub for sure.
Absolutely. And this is, I don't want to listen, apples to oranges, but when Mayweather fought Canelo and just outclassed him over the course of 12 rounds, and then we saw what Canelo has become, sometimes that's what you need. You need that one step back to jump 3-4 steps forward. Bright future for Giga Chikadze, but hey, Calvin Kattar has now firmly re-entered title contention, or potentially setting up another rematch for Max Holloway. At this point, he's kind of in a little bit of a limbo himself, given that he hasn't really been fighting very frequently. He had to take that year off after the Holloway fight. So I'd like to see him a little more active. I got a couple names for the matchmaking, which we'll talk about in just 1 second.